And good evening, my Niger people. How are they? It's always an exciting time to, be on the live. This live is built for 7 p.m. actually, but I usually like to come, 5 minutes behind before time. And if you saw the flyer, you see that a couple of issues to look at. I don't know if I'll be able to, run through everything, but I'll just go from one to another. I It's always a good time, being on the live. I really am looking forward to doing live, frequently, and I really would solicit your support. Yeah, some of you may not be able to watch right away, but you can always watch because the video will be on the timeline that's on the channel, so you can always get to watch anytime. And please do uh, remember to drop your thoughts. I am always looking forward to hearing from you. It's not supposed to be just a one side conversation. It's going to be. I'm hoping that this will be a true conversation where you two can get to drop your thoughts. Who knows? Your thoughts can also get to inspire you know, influence the conversation. That's the whole idea. And today it's good that I'm doing this on a Saturday because it's giving me the opportunity to kind of do a roundup, kind of. And it's been a whole lot happening from last week into this week. It's been intriguing. Developments here and there. Peter Obi is still very much in the news. Tinubu is still very much in the news. The elections, you would think that we are still campaigning, but the elections are actually done. But we are still having to deal with some issues you probably want to that usually would be pre-election matters, but we are still having to deal with them. And it's good. It's the politics bubbling. The It's interesting to see the much that is happening, and the cases are the tribunal is getting started. The presidential election petitions tribunal precisely, and the Nigerians. I know you are, looking forward to that, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I like you to sustain the interest because I really think Nigerians should follow that. Proceeding, we should follow it and get to see the much that the judiciary has for us. We'll see if we can get into the election petitions tribunal, and as it is getting started, I hope we'll be able to get into that. We'll have time to do that. This live is not supposed to last for more than 1 hour. I hope to keep to that 1 hour time. So we'll just get straight into the conversation right away. I want to start with, and please, if you are live, I love you to drop a comment or probably just drop a wave, drop a comment just to. I want to be sure that I'm being heard. Um, Somebody's live, please. Can you just drop a comment and say hello? Okay, we'll just get into it right away. I want to start this with the conversation with Peter Obi. Peter Obi has been dominated the news all week. His detention at the Heathrow Airport, London, in the UK, and I think I did a. Okay, no, I've not done a video on that, but people have been asking questions. What's happening? The Labour Party spoke. These people have been speaking. Then opponents have been speaking too. So, and the media, have been going up and down trying to see the more that they can get, as it has to do with the facts of the matter of what really happened at Heathrow. And I can tell you that I have something. I have something. I've been looking at that. I've been looking at other papers, the much that they've been doing and the much they've been able to get. And I have something for you. You want to stay back and see the much that really happened at Heathrow, what happened to Peter Obi, and let's try to see if we can unravel all of the, if we can bring out all of the facts. So basically, I can tell you categorically that it appears that the most the Labour Party has said, Obi's people have said, is what actually happened. I think Obi had been impersonated. His identity had been duplicated, And well, you expect. I'm not alarmed. These are very tensed times. Opponents, the polity is tough, and opponents are probably looking at, you know, these are desperate times too. So politicians can go all the way to do the most that they can do. I'm not suspecting anybody. I'm not saying that anybody had done something, but I'm saying that that is expected that the much that is happening to be now, as it has to do with his personality being duplicated, him being impersonated, even to the point of that happening even in the UK is to be expected. I think one thing that works for Obi is that Obi is not exactly the typical politician. Um, you couldn't really get much to use against Obi. So opponents probably, especially the very desperate ones, that are probably um, now going really desperate to see what they can really get. And it's really difficult to get to pick something, and so you can see that there may be some effort in some quarters to see you know what can be done to try to bring some sort of scandal and all of that. And you can understand, when people go as far as trying to impersonate. And you want to ask yourself, what is the purpose of impersonation? Obviously, maybe to do something really, terrible, and probably pin that on Peter Obi. So that is a possibility. So that is the most that had happened. Obi is being impersonated, and the British authorities at Heathrow discovered that, and they had to um, kind of detain Obi to try to. Obviously, the detention was to unravel and probably brief him on the much that they had discovered. Obviously, and the people have been saying, "Well, should they have apologized?" Well, I think some 2 days ago, news filtered in, the rumors here and there that the British authorities had apologized, but I don't think that happened. That's not true. The British authority did not apologize. You probably want to ask, is it necessary? Should they have apologized? Well, that may be a conversation for another day. If you ask me, the most that they did in detaining Obi was it was to Obi's favor, anyways. It was to, yes, first to probably inform him on their discovery, and probably also get some other clarification. So I want to believe that that is the much that the British authority did, which resulted in that detention. So should they have apologized for that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they should apologize. Maybe they will. Maybe they will, but they have not. So the much that is being said about the British authorities apologizing is not true. The British authorities did not apologize to Peter Obi, but it is true that Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last presidential election, February 25, precisely, is being impersonated, and the British authorities have discovered this. And so it is for us to begin to stretch our mind, and probably think, who is doing this and why are they doing this. Maybe in the coming days, in the coming weeks, more facts will unravel as it has to do with this particular matter. But so far so good. That is what we have. That is the most that the British authorities discovered, that Peter Obi is actually being impersonated. I like to Premium Times. Premium Times they are very good with investigative journalism, and they've sprung into action, and they've reached out to the British authorities to try to see the much that they can get, because persons were also of the opinion that the impersonation story may not actually be the case. That may have been something, maybe something more incriminating. Some people thought that maybe the British authorities may have discovered, Obi doing something or something like that. So they wanted to Obi and the Labour Party to come out more clearly on the much that happened at Heathrow. But Premium Times had reached out to the British authorities, and I like to show you the much that they got. And let's see. I think this, it says that's Premium Times now, April 15. That's today. It says you could actually go online and you see You'll be able to find this on Premium Times. It says UK government replies Premium Times inquiry on Peter Obi's arrest detention. And it says the Labour Party in Nigeria had, in a statement on Wednesday, said the UK immigration officials arrested and detained Mr. Obi, his presidential candidate in London, over alleged impersonation during Easter. So Peter Obi basically spent the Easter with the British authorities. It says the government of the United Kingdom has responded to Premium Times letter requesting the details of the arrest and detention of the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi by its immigration officials at Heathrow Airport in London last week. It, however, declined providing sufficient details about Mr. Obi's ordeal as requested by by this newspaper in his reply through the Home Office. In a short reply on Thursday, the UK government said they do not comment on individual cases. So the UK authorities speaking now, we do not comment on individual cases. Cleo Newman, senior communications officer, News Desk Communication Directorate, stated in the reply on Thursday. Bothered about several unsubstantiated claims on social media over the issue, this newspaper wrote to the UK Home Office on 13th April seeking to understand the circumstances surrounding Mr. Obi's ordeals in the European country during Easter for accurate reporting. The Datti media, in a statement on Wednesday by its head, Diran Onifade, said Mr. Obi was detained in London by the UK immigration officials over alleged impersonation. The statements did not, however, contain details of Mr. Obi's arrest and his subsequent release before returning to Nigeria. Okay, I'll read further. It says, specifically, neither the UK government nor the Labour Party in a statement gave clarification on Mr. Obi's offences, when and how he was arrested, and the conditions upon which he was released, the current status of the case against him, and other related issues. More so, while the party claimed in its statement issued on Wednesday that Mr. Obi was arrested over alleged impersonation, it fails to state the offenses committed by the impersonator for which Mr. Obi was arrested, harassed, and eventually detained before he was released. It also remains unclear if Mr. Obi was deported and if he still possesses a valid UK access visa at the moment following his last week's ordeal in London. Okay, I think I'll just continue reading. A similar inquiry was also forwarded to Mr. Onifade, but he has yet to respond at the time of filing this report. Meanwhile, the Labour Party has denied media reports that the UK government had apologized to Mr. Obi over his arrest, detention, and harassment at the London airport, as claimed by his party. In the statement, Mr. Obi has yet to speak on his ordeal in London. Okay, I think I'll stop there. That's enough. So that's it. That's the most that we know now. Mr. Obi was actually detained at the Heathrow Airport, London, over issue of impersonation. So his person is being impersonated, and that is the most that we have. So we do not know the details because like Premium Times are, I must commend the Premium Times for the most that they did. But the British authorities have not been magnanimous enough to really come out clear on the details of the matter, and so we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. And so that's the much that we have about Obi. That's it. So I saw there's another piece of information I'd love you to have. Daniel Bwala, one of the spokesman of the Atiku campaign, he had come out to say that the Nigerian authorities may be involved in this. He thinks that there's no way, now that it's established that Obi is being impersonated, there's no way that anybody would do that if the Nigerian authorities is not in the plan. They believe that all of Obi's information is known to the government, is known to the immigration authorities in Nigeria, and the only way anybody can gets to forge documents and gets to impersonate him, to the point of even having to travel abroad, that the Nigerian government may be involved. And he thinks that, let me just read the much that he said. I think I have it. Some of you may have seen it. The most that he said, that's Daniel Bwala. He said that he thinks that the Nigerian government may be involved in this, now that it is obvious that Obi is being impersonated. So let's see the much that Daniel Bwala said. That's this Sahara reporters. I just read. It says, Buhari government's Nigerian Immigration Service must produce impersonator who issued Peter Obi's passport, sharing his identity at Atiku camp. It says, so Sahara reporters released this report on, I think, on April 14. It says, the spokesperson for Atiku presidential campaign organization, Daniel Bwala, who gave the advice on Friday, said that Obi should ask the courts to compel the President Muhammad Buhari-led Nigerian government to produce the impersonator whom the Nigerian immigration issued Obi's passport and other details. Okay, he went further to saying that the Presidential Campaign Council for Atiku Abubakar, the Presidential Campaign Council for Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), has advised presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, to sue the Nigerian government over his impersonation by unknown person. They went further to say, the spokesman for Atiku campaign organization, Daniel Bwala, who gave the advice on Friday, said that Obi should ask the courts to compare the. Okay, I think I read this before. According to Bwala, the fact remains that the impersonator was issued Obi's passport by the Nigerian immigration, as they have his biodata and details. Hence, the onus is on the government to smoke out the impersonator and whoever is using him for the criminal act. One fact is clear: the impersonator was issued the passport by Nigerian immigration. They have his biodata and details about him. Peter Obi should sue the Nigerian government in court and compare them to smoke the man out. Whoever may be using him for this smear campaign, Bola wrote on his Twitter handle. I think this makes sense. This makes sense. If it is now clear that he's being impersonated, there's no way the Nigerian government will not be. You want to wonder how the impersonator was able to skate through all of the immigration checks and use his passport details and actually even travel. So you may now begin to understand the most that some parents are saying in Senate quarters, that there may be some high level conspiracy here. Some government people, highly placed, may be involved in this, and I can understand Daniel Bwala's position. So I think it is actually not out of place for Obi to try to reach out to the government and see what is exactly happening. Well, whether to sue, it may be too early to do that, but I think it is not out of place at all for Peter Obi to try to see exactly what is happening from the home government point of view, that the Nigerian government. Of course, there's a lot that the Nigerian government will have to say and will have to answer to, as it has to do with this whole impersonation saga. I think Daniel Bwala is very on point. It's very on point. I think there's a lot that the Nigerian government can. There's a lot of questions that the Nigerian government should be able to answer, as it has to do with the person of Peter Obi being impersonated. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear your what you think. Drop your comments in the comment section. I really love to hear the most that you have to say concerning this. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What's happening with Peter Obi and this impersonation? Do you think that this is about a smear campaign, people trying to implicate Peter Obi? It's really difficult to get anything on Peter Obi. So maybe opponents are now very desperate to try to create something. What do you think? I really love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Please, I'm seeing a couple of people online. Can you just drop a comment? I want to be sure that I'm being heard. I had this challenge the other day where my mic totally went off and I didn't notice. So I don't want that to happen. Please, I love to. Okay, my mic is on. I love to really hear your thoughts. I love to hear. Just give me a wave, say hello. I want to be sure that people are listening to me because I'm actually seeing some people online. And I want to thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the live today. So that is the much that I have concerning Peter Obi and the Heathrow situation. I hope that the much that I have given will be enough information for now. I know that you want to hear more, but that's the much that we have. I have from my end, and Peter Obi has not come out to really speak. Actually, Peter Obi did not even speak on this matter. How this came to public light is that an aide of Peter Obi, whom he confided in about his ordeal at the Heathrow Airport, actually brought this to public notice. So it's not that the Labour Party president candidate Peter Obi had actually spoken about. He has not. Up to date, he has not made any official statement concerning this. It was after the much that that aide who actually worked with him while he was governor. I think she was a commissioner or something. I don't know, but it was the aide that came to public life with the information, and that is how it started to trend. So it would be good to really hear Peter Obi. I know that a number of Peter Obi supporters and the Labour Party supporters are really itching to hear Peter Obi speak about this. You'll be able to clear the gray areas and the more that you still want to hear, the more that you still want to know. Maybe you'll have enough information for us to work with. But for now, this is what we have. From there, Peter Obi's deal at Heathrow, I'll move to some of the other issues that trended in the week ending from last week into this week. Actually, Professor Wole Soyinka, has been trending, still trending. Actually, the much that he said in the interview on I think channels initially, then Arise TV later. Let's look at that. It's quite interesting to see the much that Wole Soyinka, Professor Wole Soyinka said, the respected literature icon. It's been two-sided. The obedience have not been very happy with the more that he said. The obedience have not been okay. Kola is saying something. Okay, Kola says, Kola, thank you for joining. Oh, can I have that comment? Thank you for joining, Kola. I think you are saying something about the obese situation. I may not be able to get that comment now. Okay. Okay, I'll just continue. Okay. So Professor Wole Soyinka, was in the news, and like I was saying, a number of obese supporters have not they've not taken it lightly at all. They've come out hard. The obedience, they can be vicious when it comes to speaking for Peter Obi, and they've spoken and they are not very comfortable with the most that they said. Basically, it's still the most that Datti Baba Ahmed said, the vice presidential candidate of Labour Party. That he had said last week or thereabout that if the president-elect now, as declared by INEC, is sworn in, that would signal the end of democracy. And that was on the premise that INEC had not followed extant laws. INEC had not followed the provision of the law in declaring a president-elect. So Datti was basically saying that if you have disregarded the laws and you have not followed provisions of the law in resulting to declaring a president-elect, if that president-elect is sworn in, democracy is as good as ended. That's what that is said. And Professor Wole Soyinka, criticized that, and he thinks that it is intimidating the judiciary. He thinks that, especially on the part where he said on 25% Abuja question about Tinubu not scoring 25% to be qualified. That's in Abuja now, to be qualified to be declared president. And he did say that provision of the constitution stands interpreted, and that it doesn't need any expert interpretation. And is and anytime there's a conjunction, and he thinks that, and a number of other persons, many Nigerians actually think that provision of the constitution does make it mandatory for a person to be declared president-elect, or a candidate to be declared president-elect, must have 25% in Abuja. So Datti was saying that that provision of the constitution stands interpreted, and he doesn't think that it needs an expert interpretation. And Professor Wole Soyinka feels that that is, putting unnecessary pressure on the judiciary. That is threatening the judiciary. That is trying to influence the judiciary unduly. And he used some very strong terms, and that has really caused that has, given rise to controversy. People are questioning those terms, and they are not very comfortable with the much that Wole Soyinka said. In fact, he went as far as saying that that is semi-fascist. That the much that he was saying is a characteristic of a fascist government, and that he wasn't comfortable with that, especially as that is being supporting this third force now, which Obi seems to be representing, and that he does not want to be associated with that kind of attitude, that kind of behavior. And okay, Chimamanda Adichie had also, come out in the Arise interview she did. She had also said that she's not comfortable with the most that Wole Soyinka said, and I think I also align my thoughts with people who are saying that Wole Soyinka's position may be quite exaggerated, like having to say that that the most that he said amounts to is fascist behavior and all of that. All of the terms that he used. I think that is quite in all fairness to him. Yeah, I think he was he probably should have be more careful with the choice of words. I am not very comfortable with the choice of words. You can't possibly say that the most that he said amounts to is a fascist behavior, amounts to fascist characteristics. Come on, especially if you have to trace, the the very term fascism and how the origination of fascism. Are you trying to say that the much that he said, can be amounts, equated to behavior, the behaviors of Mussolini, and all of that. I think that is that's the choice of that word is quite. I think it is out of place to use that kind of term. Come on. That is said, if you swear in a president, or if you swear in a president who has not emerged, through due process, that INEC did not follow extant laws, INEC disregarded laid down rules in declaring a president-elect, and that if that president-elect is sworn in, you will have ended democracy. He also said that he believes that the provision of the section that that says that that provides for the states that should be won, and the 25% in Abuja, and that Tinubu did not get that 25%. He feels that that portion of the constitution is self-explanatory. He feels that he doesn't need an expert opinion. They're in court, and he's saying that, hey, Mr. President, if this person is sworn in, Nigerians, if a president who has emerged like this is sworn in, then it will be the end of democracy. He even went as far as saying that it will be as good as swearing in a military government, or it will be as good as having a military government take over power. That's his opinion. He's in court. He has a conclusion which the court will have liberty to either affirm or put aside. The court will, whatever that he has said or anybody is saying out there, it's basically being said, as Nigerians, as citizens who have fundamental human rights to speak and to air their opinion, to voice their opinion. So whatever anybody is saying, we should not necessarily, I don't think the court should be bothered about that. Come on, we have learned judges, experienced judges who are trained, experienced, who will have the liberty and in their own wisdom be able to interpret the constitution, and Nigerians will have to abide by the most that they are going to say or the judgment of the courts. So I think if you say that, the most that Datti said or other Nigerians are saying in that line is putting undue pressure on the courts, is trying to dictate to the court, I think with all due respect to Professor Wole Soyinka, that may be exaggerating it. That may be an exaggeration. I do not think that the most that Datti said is expressly so out of place. No, it's not. It's not. He's just airing his opinion as a Nigerian. And as one who also contested the election, who is also in court. So having to use the term, fascism and all of that, I think with all due respect to Professor Wole Soyinka, I want to agree with those who think that was an overkill. That was an overkill. It was out of place to use such terms, and especially if you consider the fact that because Professor Wole Soyinka has said that, he's supporting this movement. He has said that, especially for those, those supporting the movement, they don't want to be associated with, that kind of attitude, the fascist attitude and all of that. But again, we also know that he's also a friend of Tinubu. So people are not saying, is he speaking for, Tinubu? Because people are now beginning to say, okay, are you speaking for Tinubu? Because it appears that, this is in favor of the Tinubu camp, and it appears that you are now, you are acting the script. I don't buy that line of thought. I don't think so, especially because of who Professor Wole Soyinka had been over the years. If you know the history of this country, you know that you may want to be careful to quickly conclude that Tinubu is Wole Soyinka is acting the Tinubu script or acting the script of the ruling party. I cannot make that conclusion because of who I know Soyinka to be or who he's been over the years. But if you see the most that happened in the presidential elections and even the governorship elections that followed, you may want to say or ask, we didn't see Professor Wole Soyinka come out to condemn the most that happened in Lagos and maybe other parts of Nigeria in strong terms, categorically. If you say, okay, you are part of the hope movement, you are part of this movement for change, this third force movement, you are giving your support to. But we didn't see you come out to condemn the most that happened in Lagos and maybe other places in Nigeria. The voter suppression, the violence, the brazen intimidation, the brazen suppression, and with the ruling party being, the major culprits. No, we didn't see you come out to condemn all of that. So if you now come out and you are so hard on the most that he has said, people may want to ask, come on, we didn't see you come out to criticize the most that has been happening in Lagos. And you know that Tinubu, the APC presidential candidate, is a direct beneficiary of all of that. He's a direct beneficiary because, in fact, I can say categorically that what happened in Lagos was the Tinubu script. Was the Tinubu script because he's the direct beneficiary of the most that happened in Lagos. He never came out all through the period of all of that, the violence and the voter intimidation. Even Tinubu himself never came out to condemn until after the election, and he made some statements, about healing the wounds and all of that. So if you come out and say the much that you are saying now, that's talking about Wole Soyinka now, we would have expected, I expected that you would also have come out before now to condemn the most that happened in Lagos and some other parts of Nigeria, to condemn the most that happened in the presidential election, all of the charade with INEC and the failure of the IREV, and all the issues that went with that election. We really didn't come out to say much, So I am now wondering, I'm a bit taken aback, to see, how you have come out, to say the more that you are saying now about Datti Baba Ahmed. So you can understand when people begin to question his motives. I understand all of that, and I am very careful to say whether to align with that thought that he's actually working for the opposition party or he's working for Tinubu because they are quite friends. I'm careful because I like I said earlier on, I do know a bit about Wole Soyinka. I know a bit of history, of the history. So actually, during the Civil War, Wole Soyinka, many Nigerians actually forgotten or don't even know this. Wole Soyinka was not exactly on the side of the federal government of Nigeria. In fact, especially in the very early stages of the war, he was actually on the side of the Biafra. In fact, on a number of times, he went to Biafra, even when the war started, to try to persuade Ojukwu um, um, to back out of the war and end the war. Even at his own risk, actually, at his own risk. In fact, on one of the occasions when he got back to Nigeria, he was actually arrested. He was arrested and he was being accused of being a spy for the Biafra government. Yeah, Wole Soyinka went that far, actually. So I will not be so quick to say, oh, he's speaking, he's acting the script of Tinubu, he's speaking for Tinubu, he's speaking for the APC. I will not be quick to say that, but I will not be careful to say that I am not comfortable with the critique. I am not comfortable with his position on the matter. I am not comfortable with the much that he said, the terms that he used. I am not comfortable with all of that. I think that it should have been more, it should have exercised some restraint in the much that he said. And I want to agree with those who think that it was overly critical and it was unnecessarily using certain terms. And I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Then Chimamanda was in the news too. I'd love to hear your thoughts, please. Share your thoughts. What do you think about the most that Wole Soyinka said? Do you think that out of place? Do you think that too much? Do you think that it was unfair to the Obi camp? And do you think that is acting the Tinubu script is acting the APC script as some people are insinuating? Do you think? What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So moving away from Wole Soyinka, let's see the much that happened with Chimamanda Adichie. She was in the news too. She had written concerning the much that she said in that letter. Some persons have come to criticize, especially because she voted for Peter Obi. Yeah. And she has come out to say, yeah, even in the letter, she did say that she voted for Peter Obi. She supported Peter Obi because she saw capacity. And I do not think that because she's voted for supported Peter Obi, that removes, any credibility from her. I don't think that affects her credibility to. I voted for Peter Obi in the election, so it doesn't mean that I can't critique. I have expressed my disappointment in trying to check my mic. I had expressed my disappointment in the elections. I think that INEC messed up. I think that INEC did not live up to expectation. I actually think that the elections were rigged, so the fact that I supported Peter Obi does not deny me does not remove the credibility, so I do not think that the fact that Chimamanda Adichie supported Peter Obi in the elections, then she couldn't be objective. What objectivity is can be relative nowadays. If I feel that the process had been influenced, if I feel that there's been some manipulation, and then I say it, I voice it, I have the rights within the constitution, the fundamental rights to say that, whether I support the candidate or not. You understand? So we are all going to have sides. We are going to pick sides. We are going to choose sides in an election. But if the truth of the matter is that we saw the much that happened in the elections, and I think it is not out of place to speak about it, irrespective of the side you supported. So I think Chimamanda Adichie is not out of place to even though she said in the letter that she supported Peter Obi. So I don't think that removes any credibility from her. Before the elections, I think it was about 4 weeks to the elections that I, pitched tent with Peter Obi in terms of who I was going to vote for. I had been checking. I told my friends, hey, it is quite a blessing to have a Tinubu, an Atiku, and a Peter Obi contesting for president. It's quite a blessing. I'm not one of those who actually think that, one is such is evil and the other is a saint. You know, I actually don't think that. Yeah, of course they have their strengths and weaknesses. Um, so it was a good thing to have a Tinubu who's quite a Democrat. He's contributed, over the years to the emergence, to the return to civil rule and the growth of democracy, whether you like it or yes. Article 2, quite a Democrat, has some credibility, he's been vice president, an industrialist, but all of them brought a whole lot to the table. So for me, I had to take time to look at all sides to decide who to pitch my tent with. And then I resolved to go for a Peter Obi. Why? Because I chose Peter Obi because I thought that in Nigeria of today, Peter Obi will be best for it. There's one thing you can't take away from Peter Obi. It is the fact that the integrity, factor. One of the major challenges we have in Nigeria today is the issue of misappropriation, corruption, and all sorts, all related vices. You need a man at the end of the affair who has the credibility, the sincerity, the track record to be able to, face corruption head on. So you could say anything about Peter Obi. You could say anything, what he did when he was governor, this and that. But there's something you couldn't take away from him. Even his biggest rivals, his, biggest opponents will tell you that the man has got integrity. When it comes to misappropriation, Peter Obi. So when I thought Nigeria needs a man like that to be at the very top, because it will have implication, it will have a ripple effect on us as a people. And you see, even after the elections, even with all of the tension and all of the pressure that the ruling party is having to face, nobody's able to say anything about Peter Obi as to anything damaging. And you can see how excitedly the opposition or the his opponents embraced the leaked tape with Bishop Oyedepo and how they were trying to make that really fly, but that couldn't do so much damage, because there's not much you can find on this man that is negative. So that was my major consideration in pitching tent with Peter Obi. So that's it. So that Chimamanda Adichie supported Peter Obi in the elections does not take anything away from her at all. We saw the elections. We saw the most that happened. Come on, we saw the reports of the observers. This thing happened in broad daylight. So if you see the more that is coming and Nigerians having to be dissatisfied, it has something to do with the fact that, the man that we supported didn't win. No. It is the fact that all the promises, as it has to do with INEC and President Muhammadu Buhari giving Nigeria a free and fair elections, was shattered. And the brazenness, how it was done, that is the real issue. It is the frustration of Nigerians seeing that the process they put so much hope in was shattered. It's not about Peter Obi or anybody losing. No. It's not about a Tinubu emerging. Of course, if he won by popular votes, come on, it's a democracy. If Tinubu is sworn in tomorrow, Nigerians are going to have to deal with it. So it's not about, your candidate didn't win. No. I am not dissatisfied with the process. I am not dissatisfied with what happened on February 25 in this country on that day. I am not dissatisfied with it because the man I supported didn't win. No, it is that the process wasn't free and fair, and it is clear for everybody to see. It is that all the promises, nobody lived up to it. INEC failed Nigerians. President Buhari failed Nigerians. They reneged on the promises. And the brazen manner in which they did it is the frustration. It's not about, Peter Obi didn't win or anybody, Atiku didn't win or whoever didn't win. No, it's not about that. It is that we did not even follow laid down rules. We just ignored the rules. We set it aside. How is it that we're able to upload results for other elections, and when it came to the presidential election, we couldn't upload results? It will seem like there's been some manipulation. It doesn't seem like a glitch. No, it's seeming like a deliberate interference. And that is the frustration. That is the anger. So going to Chimamanda's letter, I just hope, okay, I have the full text here, so I just go through it for those of you probably have not had the time to don't have the time had the time to look at it. We'll just look through it together and see the full text of the letter, and then maybe we'll have one or two things to say as we go through it. It says, this is from The Guardian, the full text of the letter. It says, Dear President Biden, something remarkable happened on the morning of February 25, the day of the night. I think I'm getting an interference, a call or something. Okay, I'll just continue. It said, many Nigerians went out to vote. This Chimamanda speaking now, writing, to vote, holding their hearts in a new sense of trust. Cautious trust, but still trust. Yeah. Since the end of military rule in 1999, Nigerians have had little confidence in elections. To vote in a presidential election was to brace yourself for the inevitable aftermath, fraud. I'm having to use the handkerchief because the fan is not on. I have to put on my fan so that it doesn't affect the mic. So I think I totally agree with this. It is the hope that Nigerians had in the process. It's somewhat, maybe not full hope, if I was to use that word, but some hope. Looking at all of the promises, well, okay, let's try to raise our hope. That's what happened to Nigerians. And you saw the surge in registration. So it says to vote in the presidential election was to brace yourself for the inevitable aftermath, fraud. Elections would be rigged because elections were always rigged. The question was how badly. Sometimes voting felt like an inconsequential gesture as predetermined. I'll take that again, sorry. Sometimes voting felt like an inconsequential gesture as predetermined winners were announced. A law passed last year, the 2022 Electoral Act, changed everything. It gave legal backing to the electronic accreditation of voters and the electronic transmission of results in a process determined by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, assured Nigerians that votes would be counted in the presence of voters and recorded in result sheets, and that a photo of the signed sheet would immediately be uploaded to a secure server. When rumors circulated about the commission not keeping its word, Yakubu family rebutted them. That is the issue. That is the issue. That, rumors even came. Words came that, it appears that there were some underground workings to ensure that the innovations that will enable this process to be free, credible, and acceptable is going to be scuttled. And INEC had come out to assure Nigerians that that was not going to happen. To see that all of the suspicion and the much that had been said happened, it raises a lot of questions. It raises a lot of questions on the credibility of the electoral body. So Chimamanda Adichie is very on point here. And this is the very feeling of every Nigerian. In a speech at Chatham House in London, a favorite influence burnishing haunt of Nigerian politicians, he reiterated that the public would be able to view polling unit results as soon as they are finalized on election day. Nigerians applauded him. If results were uploaded right after voting was concluded, then the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, which has been in power since 2015, would have no opportunity to for manipulation. Technology would redeem Nigerian democracy. Results would no longer feature more votes than voters. Nigerians would no longer have their leaders chosen for them. Elections would finally capture the true voice of the people. And so, trust and hope were born. Very on point. Very on point. Very on point. By the evening of February 25, 2023, that trust had dissipated. Election workers had arrived hours late or without basic election materials. There were reports of violence, of a shooting at a polling unit, and of political operatives stealing or destroying ballot boxes. Some law enforcement officers seem to have colluded in voter intimidation in Lagos. In Lagos, a policeman stood idly by as an APC spokesperson threatened members of a particular ethnic group who he believed would vote for the opposition. Most egregious of all, the Electoral Commission reneged on its assurance to Nigerians. The presidential elections were not uploaded in real time. Voters, understandably suspicious, reacted. Videos from the polling stations showed voters shouting that results be uploaded right away. Many took cell photos of the result sheets. Curiously, many polling units were able to upload the results of the House and Senate elections, but not the presidential election. A relative who voted told me we refused to leave the polling unit until the INEC staff uploaded the presidential result. You see, this is the more that Chimamanda said in the letter is the very feeling of many Nigerians, many disgruntled, many dissatisfied Nigerians. Very on point. It is, in fact, she basically stated the minds. Well, you could say, well, she's probably using her influence to in favor of the candidate supported. Well, the more that I know is that she's speaking as a Nigerian. But even if that is the case, there's not so much wrong with that. In fact, I think that right now, they say evil thrive when men of goodwill, are silent. So if you say that, oh, Chimamanda is mainly using her influence to add some to in favor of the candidate she voted for, the issue is that she had raised some salient points. She's made allegations. She's made some categorical statements. So it is left for the system to address those issues. I align with all of the issues she raised, as it has to do with the fact that the process was not fair and fair. And I believe that many Nigerians today, a large percentage of the people went out to vote, and many Nigerians, a large population, majority of Nigerians actually share these thoughts. So if you say, oh, she's using her influence to support, the candidate she voted for, Peter Obi, well, I think we all need to start using our influence to try to add voice to the much that happened. The whole world needs to hear this. And I am hoping the matter is in court, yeah, but we must continue to speak up. I am hoping that the court will do their job. I am hoping that the court will truly be, as it is said, the last hope of the common man. I am hoping that the courts will truly, in their wisdom, interpret the Constitution as it is. I am hoping that the courts will truly look at what happened on February 25 and do justice to Nigerians. Because I believe I'm of the opinion that process must truly be tested. It will not be good to let what happened in the presidential election just pass by. It must be tested. The more that happened must be unraveled. What happened with INEC? We want to know what happened with INEC. So far, so good. INEC has not come out to give us anything satisfactory. The most they have said is, oh, there was a glitch. Of course, we know there was no glitch. It's obvious. Even the blind can see it. What happened was a deliberate manipulation. We want to know those who did what. We want to know who they worked for. And that's where the courts come in. So the court must now be, the unbiased umpire that they should be. The court must now be truly the last hope of the common man. The court must now unravel the most that happened, and so that justice can truly be seen to be done. Because Nigeria cannot move away from the most that happened on February 25. No, it will have some very terrible implications for our country. And that's why we cannot just walk away and say, oh, like some people want us to do, let's forget it and just move on. The president has emerged. No, the process must be tested in court. And the court, court, like Wole Soyinka had said, the mother that he said is putting undue pressure, trying to, guard the judiciary. Well, I think Nigerians must surely put pressure on the courts. It's not out of place at all. We must continue to remind the courts that this means a lot to us and that they must do what is right, especially if you see the murder has been happening. You can't blame Nigerians. You can't blame anybody for trying to, have to put some kind of pressure and a lot of Nigerians I've had people speaking to me. A lot of Nigerians really don't have hopes in the court. A lot of Nigerians don't have confidence in the court. But I want to encourage Nigerians to that courage that you summon, that hope that you summoned to go out and vote. I need you to renew that hope, and we must have some faith in the judiciary. And you can't blame Nigerians, because if you see the murder that has been happening, even at the very highest level of our courts, the Supreme Court, it's quite very disheartening. It's so you can understand why Nigerians are now, kind of, afraid, kind of, having some distrust, But we have no choice, because we only have the courts now, and we're going to have to trust that the courts will do what is right. I am having to, encourage myself. I'm having to summon up some courage to trust the courts, and I think that that's the most we can do. Let's follow the proceeding in court. Let's see the much that. Let's follow the process, and let's hope that. I think that we have men of integrity in the courts. I still think that we have men of integrity. We have great judges, and I'm hoping that they will do their job. I'm hoping that they will do what is right. So let's trust the courts at this point, because it is all we have now, and hope that we will get justice. Well, if the court, in their wisdom, feels that Tinubu truly won the elections, fine. The victory will be upheld, and Tinubu becomes the president. That's it. If they think otherwise, fine. The position of the court, we will settle for the position of the court. So that's it. So at this point, I'm going to have to end the live. I couldn't get into some of the other issues that I had advertised in the flyer. I know this was definitely going to happen. 1 hour is quite short to be able to exhaust all of that. We saw the most that happened. I know you are seeing the most that's happening with Wike. Wike is back. Okay, so Wike is back, and now it appears that he's having a proper match in Dino Melaye. You know that the Kogi elections are upcoming. The primaries are already at hand, and Dino Melaye is planning to contest, and it appears that Wike is not supporting his candidacy or his aspiration, and that's expected, because Wike and Melaye were actually in opposing camps in the presidential election in the PDP. So there was this fierce battle. PDP has split into two camps: Atiku on one side and Wike on the other side. And Dumilai was actually on the Atiku side, and you can understand that Wike is now having to work against his ambition. But you may want to ask, some people, I don't know, maybe I should ask, do you think Wike is now doing too much? I would think that this is the time to probably want to sit down and see how you can bring the party and settle all your differences, bringing everybody together. But it appears that they are still at daggers drawn, and it's seeming like we've not had the last in the PDP crisis. But do you think Wike is doing too much? Do you think he's overstepping his bound now, having to also dabble into the Kogi politics? So tell me what you think, tell me your thoughts, and thank you for joining. For those of you who joined, and for those of you who will watch this later, please remember to drop your thoughts. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you have not, and drop a comment, share if you don't mind. I will have to bring this live to a close at this point. I look forward to even more live. I hope to do more live. I want to be able to also have a conversation and engagement that is not scripted, unlike the videos I get to post. And I am banking on you to join. We can make it all robust conversation. So thank you. That is the much that we're going to have on the live today. Do keep praying for Nigeria. Keep believing in Nigeria. Keep trusting in Nigeria. Follow the court proceeding, the presidential election. Even for those of you who probably have gone to court in the Senate, House of Rep, even the governorship in your states, follow the proceeding. Follow the proceeding. Get to see what is happening in the courts if you can. Let's trust the judiciary to do what is right. Pray for Nigeria. Pray for Nigeria. My Nigeria people, una do well. Long live Nigeria.